Hello and welcome to another session of Learning Business Central presented by Infusion Solutions. A little bit about Infusion Solutions before we get started with today's demo. We've been in the Microsoft channel for over 20 years. We're located in Knoxville, Tennessee. We specialize in creative solutions and integrations within the Microsoft stack. We have customers located throughout the United States in a variety of different industries. We specialize in distribution, not-for-profits, higher education, healthcare, and we have a tailored solution for the wine and spirits industry. We offer consulting services on business processes, integration services, Power Platform development, GP support, and then Business Central implementations, support, and development. A little bit about me. My name is Matt Eldridge, a lead consultant here at Infusion Solutions. I've been with the organization for over 7 years now, and I help lead implementations, work on projects, and support. A little bit of an interesting fact, I do work out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, so I do work remote. I was in Knoxville for a little while and then decided to come back home closer to family. So I'm excited to get started with today's demo, so let's jump right into it. Previously, we have shown how to enter AP purchase invoices. In this section, we're going to discuss how to enter credit memos to apply to those invoices. I'm back in my home screen, and I'm going to navigate right to our vendors, and I'm going to select the vendor that we've been working with, Matt's Marketing. From here, I'm going to select New Document, and I'm going to select Purchase Credit Memo. Now, what we could do is come through our vendor and type in our GL account or our item and select that and type in our quantities and our amounts. In our previous video, what I did though was set up a recurring purchase line, and what that does is it defaults in lines that I set up so it knows which to post against. So I did that here before we got started today, and I'm going to type in my credit memo, and I can see that it automatically populated my GL account for my advertising expense. Now all I need to do is enter in an amount. So I'll enter in my $60. Now what I want to do is I have that credit memo. It's saved for me. So before I post it, I already know what invoice I want to apply it to. So I'm going to do that under Apply Entries. I'm going to select my invoice here and set Applies to ID. Then I can say OK. And then from here, I can do a little preview of the posting by selecting my GL entry here, and I can see that $60 is going against my advertising expense and my accounts payable. So this is all correct to me. So now I'm ready to post. So I'm going to go ahead and post that document. And I do not want to look at it. Something else we can do that we have reviewed previously is copy a document. We can do the same thing within a purchase credit memo. So if I select Purchase Credit Memo here, under Prepare, I can say Copy Document. I'm going to select a posted invoice. And that posted invoice, I'm going to select this one here. And what we can see is it's going to put a note in, a comment, of what invoice number we're referring to here, and it's going to populate that same information and amount that we use in our purchase invoice. So if I wanted to adjust the amount, I can to say 125. And then I'm ready to go ahead and post this. But before I do, I have to enter in my credit memo number here. And the one nice feature about using the copy document is that it automatically applies this credit memo that we're creating to the invoice that we selected to copy from. So if I go back to home and I hit post and I say yes. Oh, need to go back. Change my vendor number, my vendor credit number there, and then I can post. So let's take a look at how that looks at the vendor ledger entries here. So if I go into my search and start typing in vendor ledger, I can select my vendor ledger entries. And first we can see my $60 credit memo that we created. The amount remaining is now 0. And same goes for the $125 that we created as well. I've already created another credit memo that I went ahead and posted, but I did not apply. And I can see that here, my amount remaining here is $75. So what I can do is I can select my credit memo. I can hit my apply entries here, find which invoice that I'd like to apply it to, set applies to ID, and then I can say post application here. And I'm good with that. I'm going to say OK, and the application was successfully posted. Now when it takes me back to my vendor ledger entries, I can see that my amount remaining is now 0. Now, if I want to look at, let's say I forget which document that I applied this to, I can select my document, hit my little arrows here, and I can go down and I can say applied entries. And I can see that this credit memo was applied to this invoice here. So a nice way for me to go back and check which invoice I applied this credit memo to. Now, another nice feature that Business Central has to offer, if I drill into a document here, so now I'm looking at one of my purchase invoices, and from here I want to do some correcting to it. So I can up here up top. I have 3 options. Under correct, I can see correct, cancel, and create corrective credit memo. What correct will do, actually let's start with cancel. What cancel will do is if I select cancel here, it'll automatically take a credit memo and apply it to this invoice. Now it's canceled in effect here. Correct will actually create a credit memo, apply it to this invoice, and then recreate the invoice in an unposted fashion. Allow me to make the changes and then post it. And my last option, create corrective credit memo, it'll basically work as the copy feature does. I can create a credit memo and then post that credit memo against that purchase invoice. So let's take a look at what correct does. So I'm going to select correct, and then I want to say yes. So I can see here it's doing some work to go ahead and create that credit memo, apply it to that original purchase invoice number, and then it repopulates my original purchase invoice here in our purchase invoice window. So the first thing I want to do is actually change my vendor invoice number, because we actually keep record of the old invoice so we can audit what happened to this guy. So notice it filled that information back in for me. So instead of 1 quantity, maybe I just want to change it to the quantity of 2. And then now my extended cost is now populated. And then from here, we can now hit post. I don't want to review that. So if I go back to my vendor ledger entries, let's take a look at this. So my original invoice here, I can see that if I scroll over was $3,500. Now my amount remaining is 0. I can see up top, this is actually a credit memo that applied to that purchase invoice. And then up top, I can see my corrected invoice here for the $7,000 with the amount remaining. One thing I can check is I can go back into my invoice here, and if I want to view that, I can see that there's going to be an indicator here for me that this invoice has been canceled. I can see a red yes in here. Now I'm back out into my vendor ledger entries, and I can check another invoice here, drill into it, and then from here I'm going to go ahead and say cancel. So yes, I'd like to cancel this one, and I don't want to open it. And now if I go back in to my ledger entries here, I can see that this has been canceled. I can see my amount remaining now is 0, and this guy has now been taken off of my payables. So the last feature I want to show is how to create a corrective credit memo. So I'm going to select the invoice that I want to create the credit memo off of, and then go back under our correct dropdown and select create corrective credit memo. What this is going to do, it's going to create a corrective credit memo, or it's going to create a credit memo based on our posted purchase invoice, very similar to our copy feature. So from here, I can see that my line has populated from my posted purchase invoice. So what I can do is let's say I want to really do a credit memo for the whole quantity from the posted purchase invoice. I can do it for a partial quantity if I would like to. So I can modify that here and then tab off and see my line amount change. And I can go ahead and enter my credit memo number here. And now I'm ready to post. So I can go up under here and I can click post, and I want to post my credit memo. It's going to ask if I want to view it, and I do not. So now what I can do is I can scroll over and I can see that under my 207 here, we started with an amount of $1,255, and now I have a remaining amount of $627.95 because I posted that credit memo to that invoice number here there. Well, that's all the time we had for you today in this session. Hope you learned a little bit about accounts payable. And for more information and next steps on how Business Central can help your team, please contact info@infusion.com. You can give us a call at 865-688-3434 or check out our website at infusion.com. See you next time.